One of the biggest perks about living in or visiting St. Louis is the number of things you can do for free. Without spending a penny, well, maybe aside from a parking fee, anyone can learn about animals, science, history, and the multifaceted areas of art. And now, taking it to a more contemporary level, is Counterpublic.
Really, the introduction to Counterpublic is it's a free public art festival. At its core, it's meant to be a kind of reintroduction to the city of St. Louis through public art in many different venues.
One of the largest civic exhibitions in the United States, Counterpublic has 25 sites with 37 commissions across the St. Louis area. And as it goes with the contemporary style, not every piece of art is straightforward, which of course is intentional to reflect the complexities of St. Louis's past, present, and future.
How can a community reflect on its past and prepare for its future? Counterpublic answers this question through the work of artists of both global and local recognition.
Counterpublic is in its second run of what they plan to be a continuing triennial event. In other words, every 3 years, the exhibition will run for 3 months. This year, it officially opened in April and will continue through July 15th, but the planning has been in process for years.
One of the unique parts of Counterpublic is that we really start with the neighborhoods. We start with our neighbors. So this is something that is for St. Louis first. And so the first year, we weren't talking to artists. We weren't thinking about what specifically are we going to see. We were just really out in the neighborhoods talking to people. So we met with almost 1,000 people in the first year along Jefferson Avenue. So from far South City to North City and everything in between. We talked with people and just kind of what was on their minds, what did they want to see in their neighborhoods, but also kind of what the public spaces of the city were telling them or not telling them.
Once the Counterpublic curatorial team gathered the community feedback, there was an open call for artists to submit their ideas. But the team also sought out specific artists that would appropriately represent certain sites. For example, Sugarloaf Mound, the oldest human-made structure and the last intact Native American mound in St. Louis.
So we call ourselves Mound City. And what does that mean if we sort of have lost this history, if we've destroyed it over years, hundreds of years of development and settlement? That is a really sacred space for the Osage people, and we wanted to enter that very thoughtfully. So we're working with artist Anita Fields and her son Nkosi Fields at that site, as well as a Native film collective called New Red Order.
While the artists involved with the Sugarloaf Mound site are not from St. Louis, there are a number of local creators, like Samaya Sedith, who created both a mural and a more interpretive piece for Counterpublic.
So the Mothership is a 1970s Terry travel trailer that has been remodeled and turned into a mobile meditation studio. So the inside of this space is raw plywood, has a great smell, and there is space for 6 people to sit on Zafu meditation cushions and come in and have just a space to relax, meditate, take almost like a sensory break from the world. So it's a mobile mindfulness studio.
As a social practice artist, Samaya's work is created intentionally for people and spaces to interact. And while this doesn't technically count as interaction, their work has received national attention through this New York Times article. In fact, Counterpublic has been recognized through many major publications. All of this is super important and positive, puts St. Louis in a positive light, in which everybody loves that. But do you ever get the feedback of like, I don't get it?
Definitely. I mean, I think we really hope it is the starting of a conversation. So here it is a piece like this, it opens up to a lot of learning, a lot of questions. We hope people go deeper than just this exhibition. The thing about St. Louis is we have such an incredible culture of art and arts organizations. So these artworks are kind of openings, they're invitations to experience something new. You might not want to take that step to go to a museum, but it being in your neighborhood, I think, opens up a possibility of like, in public space, you feel like it's for you.
What I love about public art is that it is a part of the landscape, because I do believe that art is a part of our everyday lives. And I'm often so like in my head and working on the projects, and it's all about what I think, but it's so nice to hear what other people's interpretations are, even if it's nothing like what I intended. But I also think the art takes on a life of its own, and it becomes its own entity once I finish it, and it belongs to the public more so than it belongs to me when I'm done with a piece.
And while the Mothership might not be around after Counterpublic's 2023 exhibition, Samaya's mural will be a permanent installation, among others like the Pillars of the Valley outside of the new soccer stadium.
Art is an opportunity for us to have these conversations and have meeting points. Whether we agree or not is not the point. It's bringing about that conversation, I think, is super important.
For Living St. Louis, I'm Brooke Butler.